City Council for the City of Simonton will hold its City Council regular session meeting on April 16th, 2024. We're beginning at 7:25 p.m. Moving on to another new topic, item 2, public hearing on a proposed strategic partnership agreement with Waller County Municipal Utility District Number 2 and a limited annexation to enlarge and extend the boundary limits of said city to include a certain tract of land being of or about 344.4 acres. Philip's going to give you more explanation about what that is.
Yeah,
These maps behind him are of the area.
Yeah, just to provide
Council,
a
you have
note.
a copy on your desk.
Just to provide a note from the city side, this is a public hearing, so again, we will take the public's comments. Of course, it's not deliberation, but council will take those into consideration. The next public hearing, I believe, has already been posted. It'll be the 23rd, so next week as well, and to give another opportunity for the public. So this is part of a development agreement that was already signed, or that's already been entered into with Twinwood, speaking of, to sort of add and expand. Specifically, this is a portion of track, and I apologize, I am in no way an engineer, so I'm not going to read the meets and bounds, but those are available. The strategic partnership agreement is available for review and will be available here at the city per request. If y'all come in, Janie will have a copy of that, and she can do that. But here's the general description of it. The idea being that the strategic partnership agreement portion is entered into with MUD 2 specifically to allow for this commercial area, once developed, to for the city to assess its sales and use tax in that area on that commercial property. So that would allow for the city to assess its up to 2% sales tax, remit how much it needs to the ESD, or sorry, the Fort Bend ESD, and then be able to collect the rest. The strategic partnership agreement does allow for lack of a better term, sharing of those funds back to the MUD. MUDs can collect or ad valorem taxes, property taxes, not sales taxes, but a lot of these development agreements, what they allow to do is some of the sales and use tax to go back to the MUD to help pay for things like public improvements, water towers, roads, parks, et cetera, right? It funds that portion. Then eventually the vision is down the road, 10, 20, 45 years. Again, that timeline that was kind of being mentioned earlier is not exactly laid out because it all kind of depends on development timelines. But the idea would be then full annexation by the city of the entire area at a certain point in time once it's fully developed out. Again,
and all those resources are actually then acquired by the city, correct?
Correct, and then that way, once the city fully annexes the area, the city will take on the roads, the public improvements, et cetera, but they've been completed per requirements, per code, per what was agreed on in the development agreement to the required specifications and help being funded by, I don't know, the Costco or whatever that's going in there. That's not a promise. I don't know. I'm just making it up. I saw some people got excited. No. So that's what that is. That's what that strategic partnership agreement is for. We have to have there's 2 public hearings, like I mentioned, and then next meeting there will be an item on the agenda as an ordinance to accept it and first accept it into the ETJ because this is property up in the Waller Harris ESD 200 area, so it's not in Fort Bend, it's in Waller County, but accepts it into our ETJ, and they've already petitioned for that, so this area will be accepted in, and then this sort of limited purpose annexation is what it's called, will be applied over this area for when it changes from what it is today to whatever it may be in years from now.
So, quick question, why would they approach Simonton versus approaching Waller's?
Yeah.
Waller.
Oh, Waller? No, it's Waller County.
It's part of the Twinwood contract.
They have removed themselves from Brookshire's ETJ already
Why?
because they already have an agreement and they would prefer to develop with Simonton than Weston Lakes, Brookshire, Fulshire, and Burton.
Yes. And this development agreement was entered or envisioned many years ago that once they attempted to come, they were planning for a while to come into the ETJ.
Who's paying for that? Like, who pays to put all that in?
The developer.
Who's that? I meant the water, you said like the mud, like
They did.
the developer
The
pays for
developer
that.
will, or the mud through the sales and use taxes, or the ad valorem taxes that'll be collected. It's a part of it's a sort of a three-way strategic partnership agreement between the developer, the mud, and the city. And it keeps everyone in line with the same building codes, same building regulations, all those things. And so once it's incorporated into the city, it's not just another piece of land, but it's something that the city has been involved in all the way versus suddenly, hey, guess what's here? Kind of to the point of developing together kind of with the comp plan that was envisioned.
So one other quick question. I know that the Johnson agreement in Cross Creek Ranch was not beneficial for the property owners. Is this commercial property or is this residential property?
So I can't speak to that agreement mostly because I don't know what you're talking about, but no. So this is envisioned commercial property and specifically brought in the SPA as commercial property, future commercial property. So
Okay.
this is not this specific limited purpose annexation. The meets and bounds of this 344.4 give or take acres is commercial property.
Okay.
Can I ask a question, because I can't see it good from here?
Yeah, I can't either.
Is it,
Where is it?
is it due west of the main diesel Twinwood development already?
It's
Down
I-10,
359?
it's
I know you
I-10
can't,
and
so-
Woods Road.
Okay, yes,
So-
that's what I thought.
Vin Diesel's right here.
Why,
Man Diesel's right here.
That's what I thought. Okay. And that's already in the Simonton agreement,
so why
right?
is something at I-10?
Yeah.
Somewhat.
Well,
It's
yeah,
in our
they brought the
It's in
ETJ
our
around.
ETJ, in our ETJ.
Can I point something out? Or ask, just confirming that number one, this doesn't obligate Simonton to spend a dime in that area, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Right.
The other thing is you mentioned absorbing their water and sewer. It's my understanding that a city can absorb water and sewer if a couple things exist, but one is paying off the debt of the mud. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So that was the one thing that kind of keeps cities from taking over muds, correct?
Well, true, and I'm not saying that this agreement in 45 years automatically the city annexes, et cetera. There are many, you're right, there are many other steps to dissolving a mud if it even comes to that. And so that's not what this envisions. This, again, just envisions as it's developing that commercial property will allow for the city of Simonton to apply sales and use tax to that area, get some of those taxes for the city of Simonton to use however Simonton needs to use sales and use tax. Again, remitting some to the developer, or to the mud for their use for any legal purposes, i.e. building the roads and the waterways and the ditches and the whatever it may need. Now, in its entire mud, I acknowledge that. So it can use those sales and use taxes to develop residential outside of this limited annexation area. But again, just like we can use sales and use tax over here to benefit that sort of thing. So it's the same all legal uses of the sales and use tax.
So one follow-up to that, if you don't mind. The Twinwood Development Agreement allowed for expansion of the ETJ at the developer's request. Is that correct?
Yeah, I believe there were 3 separate development agreements, all envisioning different pieces of property, all very similar. And this one particularly comes over an anticipated ETJ expansion specific to this idea of pulling some property out of different cities' ETJ and then envisioning coming into Simonton's ETJ, which is what we're realizing here, specific to this property at I-10 and Woods.
So could this otherwise be a model for future type agreements with other MUDs that Twinwood now controls?
Possibly, yes. I mean, again, the development agreements we've used with them, I think we have, again, 3 separate development agreements. I have to verify. I want to say 4, but I believe it's 3 active development agreements that are used as sort of this model to where once the property gets to a certain point and they're ready to develop, again, the commercial tracks is really what we focus on. They bring that under the city of Simonton's sales and use tax for that area to, again, help fund out the full development of those areas.
Do you see anything negative for Simonton regarding this?
Not from a legal perspective. I don't see any issues with the strategic partnership agreement.
I've got a question.
Yes.
Under section 4.01, where you have rate of blank percent. What, should you
I'm
fill in
sorry.
a blank?
What,
Page.
I may
Oh,
have
I'm
to
sorry.
look at specifically what,
I don't know what page. It's section 4.01.
It's the fourth page on Exhibit F.
Yeah, under exhibit. Agree.
oh, okay, yes. So the city has now, so this, I apologize. So that was an example one that was sort of the original, when we originally received the development agreement, that was sort of the outline of what an SPA would look like. Since then, the city has received the executed copies from the MUD, and I've just received them in my office, and I believe the city, have you all received your copy yet?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. And so it's currently, it's that, fill in that section 4.01 is 1%.
Okay.
Is there any estimate as to what this might bring in the future?
I do not have that information.
No.
And again, that one,
Questions?
oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
No, it's good.
Questions from council? Thank you very much. So we are in City Council regular session meeting. We have public comments, like we would for any topic, and if it's not on the agenda, we won't be able to respond, but we're open, and I'm sorry we were too slow for the Chapmans. I think they had something, but. Janie, did you have anybody else that would specifically ask for public comment?
I don't think anybody knew
Okay.
to sign up
Do-
though.
I did.
Yes, you did.
I did on everything. Oh, yeah, I checked, in case I wanted to talk, but I'm good. I know the agreement, I've read it.
Anybody
Any
else in the
other-
room not signed up?
Thank you. Any other public comments? No? All right. Item 4, consider and take action on the consent agenda. Before we do that, we are removing January council report and payment report as they're being audited. Our new folks that joined us to help do finance made some errors that we are going through and make sure everything is corrected before then. So you have the copies of December, both reports, but not January.
Are we doing this item
So
by
that-
item?
If there's an item that any council member would like to remove for separate consideration, we can do that.
To remove the December as well because it's not complete.
The December what?
The December payment, or council report and payment report, it's not complete. This doesn't show any employment funds, it shows IRS and payroll taxes, but it shows absolutely no payment. As far as employment is concerned, it shows very few.
Okay, well, if you'd like to remove it, we'll discuss it separately in a minute. All right, so that leaves the sales and use tax report for February, the council meeting minutes, and the Garner, ratifying the Garner agreement in the consent agenda. Do we have a motion?
I'd also like to remove the city council meeting minutes and/or ratify them because this.
Okay, we'll just move the minutes and we'll get to that in a second.
I'm sorry.
So the sales and use tax report from Revenue Management Services and the Garner agreement.
Were we going
Do we-
to have the minutes with question then?
If you want to pull it for discussion, then we pull it. But if you're going to approve it in consent, you do that. So if there's an item you want to take out, what is it?
I just had a question about it.
Which item?
On the sales and use tax report.
Okay, so we'll pull that. Are we going to leave the Garner agreement for, okay. How about, so we'll just take the items one by one instead of doing consent. Item 1 is the December 2023 financial reports. Councilmember Cox, are you asking something to be added to it?
Sorry about that. On the well, you took
December.
On the December, it's not complete, so I don't know how we can approve that or.
It's the same report that you typically get. I don't think payroll is
just-
typically included in that payment report.
Yeah,
But if you'd
it
like it
was.
redone, we can.
It's also on the back page here where it says like credit cards. Sorry, I'm trying not to lose my place here. Okay. It shows what we brought in and all that good stuff, but then all this right here, there's absolutely nothing. No dates, no check. It just says
It's
check.
just,
but
it's just
no-
an auto-generated page that I did not remove.
Yeah,
That's okay.
it's not complete.
There's nothing wrong with that
So-
one.
we could get a complete report, I think.
It's complete, that is the report, and that's, if you want something added for a future report, we can
Jamie,
do
you
that.
didn't get a
Or
paycheck
if you would like
in
to,
December? Come on now.
she's not paid as a
I'm not paid as an
payroll
employee.
She's paid as a contractor, and
Well,
that's
this
in your
doesn't
payment
list-
report. Here, look at your other report.
This is the payment report.
No, look at the one that shows the second finance report.
Nope, I don't have that.
The one that looks like this. It was on your desk. It might be under your binder.
Yeah.
Talking about this.
Again, this isn't, it doesn't show us complete. We show medical, we show payroll taxes. We don't show actual payroll. We show expenses to workforce and travel and training.
Okay, so this is-
People that I didn't know still worked here.
So this fund, right here, 100, the general fund, so all of the payroll taxes are there. The administration, if you look at Texas First Group, that is, since Janie is not an employee, she's a contractor, we pay that to Texas First Group. Julie Watts is an employee, that's when she went and did it says what it is, travel fees to deliver documents to the auditor. So you can go through and see the payments. They're just not, all payroll things aren't together necessarily because they're not all in the same department.
Again, I
You want a
asked
minute to look that over?
this has got from 12/1 to 12/18, and then back to 12/7, and then to 12/21, and then to 12/31, and that's it.
That's because they're in order of the GL account number.
I get it, but that's it. So we've paid bills on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days of the month, and that's it. For December, it's April.
This is a December report, so it should be December only.
It's just not.
So,
It does seem like it.
I'm asking for a complete one, is all.
well,
And there's a lot of charges on there that could be
mean-
questioned. Like, we paid, apparently, we paid a super late fee. We bought flowers for people. We paid
we played, yes,
we
we
paid
bought,
$2,000 for AT&T bill payment that was past due. So I
so
just-
flowers is for Erica Molina, our former city secretary whose father died in December. That's what that $100 is for. TMRS is payroll expenses, Texas Workforce Commission. Copy and printing is a lease of the printer, that's a monthly expense. Texas First Group, we talked about.
But we have other employees.
Primo, no, ma'am. In December, we had Julie,
She still works for us.
part-time. And we, well, part-time, and we have Jamie as a contractor.
And Abby
I
didn't
can, you can
get
certainly
paid.
withdraw this
No,
if
Abby
you'd
got
like.
paid. She's here.
She took a month off.
But the reason you only have one is because it's been reviewed
No
and
comment.
audited by George.
Maybe Ida should be on there or something?
No, first of all, Julie shouldn't have technically been on there because her last day was December the 4th, to my knowledge, but either way,
Ma'am,
it's
she was
just
up
not
here working
complete.
the other
Julie
day, so.
is still an employee of the city on a part-time basis.
Didn't know.
But that has a special line item because she drove documents to the auditor.
Right.
So that's why that is listed there.
It's just, there's just missing things. It's not complete. It's not complete based on every month we get a different one and they all look
Oh,
different.
absolutely not.
So I just want to make sure that it's on.
All right, council, do we have a motion on the financial? The December council report
I'll make a motion,
to,
accept it.
do we have a second? On the December council report.
One second.
Any further discussion? All in favor to accept the council report?
Aye.
Aye.
Nay.
Okay, motion carries 3 and 2. The December 2023 payment report, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept it.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any
Nay.
opposed? Thank you, the motion carries. All right. Revenue Management Services report, the sales and use tax report for February. Faith, you had a question?
Yes, on page 5, it just made the statement, February 2024 represents a 5.1 increase in taxpayers compared to February 2023. But 2023 was 604 and February 2024 was 565. I don't know why they said it was a 5.1% increase when we had 604 and it went down to 565. There's so much here.
I know.
That's the 5th page, so it's the next one. And I thought either I'm reading it wrong.
February 604. And so where are you seeing?
On the side,
gray,
right, on the right-hand side.
I don't see where it is. Oh, I see what you mean. Yes. 2023.
Maybe they meant decrease. I had a question about that, meant that maybe I wasn't,
I would assume it's probably over January.
5% decrease, good grief. So February 2023 reflected 604 taxpayers. That's the highest number of taxpayers remitting allocation in the history of the city.
So I think what they meant to say January.
They did, I am. So maybe just ask one about that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Jamie, that's on page 5. You help me remember, I'm trying to record it.
Because they should be given.
We will have Ryan Fortner with Revenue Management Services next month to deliver the quarterly. So we'll see if he's got a correction for that and bring it at the same time. City Council meeting minutes, do we have a correction to the minutes?
Yes. Let's see. A couple things I saw. Public present was Dan McJunkin and should have, we had somebody else. That was your husband. Brett, that was there.
No.
So.
My husband wasn't here last night.
Yes, he was.
Right.
Yeah, he's in the video.
Sir, were you here last night?
Were you here last month?
Last meeting.
The whole time.
That was a month ago. Are you here today?
And
I realize you're watching me that close.
We are, we had our eyes on it.
If Mayor, if I may say something about that, y'all are accustomed to providing the written in, I guess they used to do the written in sheets. And if people don't sign up, even though they're obviously here, that's why they're not listed. Now, if your preference is that everybody be listed, then we can start having this kind of a thing so that everyone would be on here. And it doesn't matter whether they want to or not. Once they sign in, and some cities they do that.
Right.
Because it shows participation and engagement. It's your preference. Just a
Okay,
suggestion.
thank you.
the other thing was, let's see, it was on the 3rd page. Under new business, item D, because I think what Courtney was referring to was the 3rd paragraph there that says City Attorney Bodecker reiterated his office would provide an ordinance at the next City Council meeting now in the direction the City Council wants to go. For one thing, this sentence doesn't make sense. N is known regarding funding, but that it wasn't there. He didn't do that.
I believe that he did, but.
Yes, I have it on a recording.
No, I listened to the recording today.
I'm happy to share with you what I have.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Not, and no disrespect intended.
No, I
Because
went
if
there
they need to
just
be
I listened to the
corrected,
same thing,
they
so.
need to be correct. I agree.
Recording did you listen to? Daniel
The video.
McJunkins or the one that Janie took?
I don't have access to hers.
Oh, no, it's just the video of a.
Sure. And it's important that council, with all due respect, Janie Willman, interim city secretary, I've been doing this for a long time. It's been my privilege and my pleasure to serve the city of Simonton City Council. The taking of the minutes is a fine art because you're supposed to capture actually actions. That the city attorney will agree with this. The less normally, if you start picking up that someone said this and someone said that, it can become a problem because we're all human, and including myself. And it's very easy to make a mistake. So what I do is I type everything that I've got. I move everything in from my handwritten notes. When I'm not sure, I go back and I listen to the minutes, whether it's from Mr. McJunkin's website or now from the recording, okay? And then when I want to make sure, then I check with someone else. And I can tell you that I have no finer second wingman than the Honorable Mayor here. And so I wanted to make sure that I captured it correctly. And the reason is that if you listen carefully, she says we're going to move on to item, and it was the next item. And what I said to her was, I said, Mayor, with all due respect, I said, this is my understanding of where this was going to go, because as Council Member Mayor Pro Tem Courtney pointed out, there was no ordinance. And even though he stated it in a way that might have been less than his abnormal elegance language, he did say that. And I said, oh, okay, well, you know, this is what's going in the meeting minutes. But I am more than happy to revisit them, okay, because it is important that they reflect what it is the will of the council wants.
This is never a criticism of you. I appreciate you so much. And a meeting like tonight, out in the world, do you ever put that down on paper? You know? So, not a criticism, it's just
No.
what I read it as I was listening to the video, looking at the video. So, that was the only reason, because I know that these are supposed to be correct and accurate reports. And you do an amazing job.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Never a criticism.
And it isn't taken that way.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor, for allowing me to speak.
Thank you. Council, do we need a motion? Would you like to make a motion to table the approval of these minutes to a further review?
Just put the ratifications, once the ratification's made.
Well, we're not prepared to ratify, to amend today because it's not an obvious change that needs to be corrected. Janie's going to need to review it.
Okay.
So I think the option is to table it or approve it. So I just need a motion for...
I make a motion to approve it.
Okay. Do we have a second? Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstain?
I'm gonna definitely say no on this one here. There's
So
an error
one
that
no
needs to be looked at.
And a nay, 2 nays. Thank you. All right, the next item is the Garner Agreement Amendment. Garner is the provider that we use for emergency disaster response. They are the ones who bring out the extra pumps, more than the ones we have. They help us set up the ones we do have. They bring all of the equipment that's needed if we, God forbid, need them for a flood operation or any other emergency. It's time to renew, so our original agreement is included. The first addendum, which is the first page after the email that you can see that I submitted to them, is part of our original agreement. You get a certain amount of extensions. This one is extending a 1-year term beginning March 31st, 2024 to March 31st, 2025. This agreement pays no money out unless we deploy. So there is no retainer, there is no annual fee or monthly fee. This is an agreement that we are just extending for another 1-year term. It's part of our
There is no change.
They changed the fees. So why we don't just make a motion on it?
Well, okay, are you making a motion?
I will make a motion.
I'll
To
second it.
approve?
Yes.
Okay.
I will second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you very much. Motion passes. New business. Appointment of a board member to keep Simonton Beautiful Board. Ms. Abersula Long, I think you're up, ma'am.
Just on behalf of Keep Simonton Beautiful, I'd like to ask that Angela King be appointed to our board. She's been a fantastic volunteer. She's helped us with a lot of our projects. Her latest being, she's working on our recycled art kids project that we are going to be displaying Saturday at the Roundup. And I would ask that she be appointed to our board because I think she'd be a great asset. Thank you so much.
So there's a vacancy on the board. Stacy Cote has resigned from the board. So council, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you,
Thank you so much, Ms. Angela, for volunteering.
Get to work.
I changed my mind.
Item B, I believe we're going to table that.
We can take either an official motion to table to the 20, well, yes, an official motion to table to the 23rd. That way we know it'll come back as part of that second city council meeting.
Okay, great. Do we have a motion?
Make a motion.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor? Thank you. All right, item 6 is adjourned to executive session pursuant to Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code for the purpose of consultation with legal counsel and personnel matters regarding appointment of the city administrator. Let's go.
See y'all later, alligators. Taking my notes so I can make sure the minutes are right.
On the 16th day of April, 2024. Thanks for waiting. We are moving on to reports. Oh, sorry, there is no action to be taken after executive session. So we will move past item 7 and 8. Reports. I have one item to report, and I think lots of people saw it posted on social media. Thank you very much, Kathy. But Commissioner Don Buckingham of the Texas General Land Office determined our application, the HGAC, Houston Galveston Area Council application, to be eligible for Community Development Block Grant Mitigation funding for the following project: Fort Bend County Brazos River erosion at the Simonton Pinch Point. The grant amount awarded is $25,825,900. So that is long awaited. There are still steps that need to be done. This is not going to break ground tomorrow, but that is the mitigation project at the Brazos River, just right here in Simonton. It's going to make a difference to us in a big way, but for everybody else downstream of us, so that the river doesn't cut through and then increase speed, which would cause further erosion downstream. So that's just great news. Wanted to make sure everybody knew about it. I should have gone to the party store and got one of those confetti cannons to say, yes, it's a celebration. That's right. Miss Jamie, do we have any staff report? Council, anybody have a report?
I just wanted to say that I was looking at agendas and minutes on the website, and 2018, 19, 20, 21 are not there. It just says forbidden access denied, so we need to get that back up and running again.
19, 20, ma'am, and 21?
4 years.
18 and 21.
Yeah, they're all 8 agendas, minutes, none of them are there.
Okay, we'll
I'll
check
ask
on that.
I'll ask about it, yes, ma'am.
Appreciate it.
Our next meeting will be next Tuesday, right here at 6:30.
Oh, 6:30,
I think that's the 23rd. And with that, we will adjourn.